Personal style is often dismissed as something decorative or trivial, but it can also be a language, a way of signaling who we are, how we feel, and how we choose to move through the world. For decades, Colleen McColl has been a quiet but constant presence in Aotearoa's art scene, working as a publicist for Wellington Circa Theatre. She's also known for something less easily defined, a distinctive personal style that feels entirely her own. Today, on Articulate, Colleen joins me to talk about clothing as self-expression, the relationship between appearance and identity, and what it means to live creatively across a lifetime. Hello, Colleen. Thank you so much for coming in today. Welcome to our studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Today's all about personal style, Colleen. And to start, I thought you're so known, I feel and believe, around Wellington for your own distinctive personal style. When did you first realise that clothing could be a form of self-expression rather than just something practical, I guess?
Clothing is just something you do every day, like everybody does. We get up. I look at the weather. Most of us do, living in Wellington. I mean, 4 seasons in one day, isn't there? And that is, the beginning of what I wear for the day. I think it's just part of how you are. I mean, when I was very little, I suppose, I remember I loved dressing up. My mother had a suitcase and it was full of old ball gowns, and I loved going into that suitcase and putting them on. I loved the whole thing of doing, dressing up. Then I learnt ballet. I learnt ballet when I was a little girl, and that was about putting on a costume. In those days, Wellington competitions, the comps, are you going to do the comps this year? Oh, yes, I loved that. And so you would put on a costume. I remember I did what was called a Russian festival dance, and I had this Russian costume that my ballet teacher of the time lent me, Dorothy Daniels. So she wore it when she was about my age, and the hat was a little side-on hat like that. I've got a photograph, that's why I can remember it. But it had a little bit of fur around it, and then it had a red laced-up bodice, and then this beautiful satin, I think it was white cream, and with a pattern on it, and boots, red boots, because of course we had to click the heels as the peasant dance.
The clacking.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. So I suppose from those early days, I love that idea of dressing up. I mean, I was talking to my daughter, and she said, I always remember you saying, Mum, when I was feeling a bit, gloomy or something, just put on a bright colour and it'll make you feel better. I dressed in that way. I dress in colour, and I've always absolutely loved colour.
Has your own relationship to personal style changed as you've gotten older? And if so, how?
When I first started buying my own clothes, I mean, I was, late teens, I suppose, and we made things in those days. We made frocks, I think we called them, and I mean, I wasn't much of a sewer, so it was always a bit of a struggle for me. I remember making a dress, and I went into Kikordi's. There were these probably 3 main stores in those days. There was Kikordi's, there was James Smith's, and DIC.
You were looking for fabric.
Looking for fabric.
Right.
Yes.
What did you find there?
Well, I found I had a choice. There were bolts of it, because that you could go into these shops and there was masses of it to choose from. And I remember being shown options, and anyway, I particularly liked one. I remember it being just slightly more than the others, but I really liked it. And from memory, and I could be quite wrong about this, because I haven't thought about this for years, but I think it was 9 and 11 pence a yard, and we bought in yards in those days. And I think I needed 1.5 to 2 yards. And actually, because I'm a terrible hoarder, I still have that.
Oh, the actual
That
fabric.
frock. I've got the whole
Oh,
thing.
the frog.
Yes.
And this is
Just-
it here.
This is it here. And this was in the days when we all danced. We did rock and roll. I mean, you know. How
Oh,
fabulous
it's
was
so
that? And
sweet.
under this dress,
Did you wear a
was
petticoat or anything?
about 49.
Oh, my
And they
gosh.
were all starched as stiff as a board.
I love
Because
it.
the rock and roll, we spun, and our partners lifted us above their heads. This all flew up. I mean, it was wonderful. And
Fabulous,
so that,
Colleen.
I mean, you wonder whether the rock and roll came first and then the fashion. I mean, I don't know. And the hair. Oh my goodness. We all grew our hair. Well, some of I did. You know, I loved all that. I loved embracing what was around. But we had this hair, and we backcombed it. Backcombed.
Teased it up, the hilt. Yeah.
To the hilt.
Yeah.
And then we lacquered. Oh, the spray to make it all. And then we quietly just swept it back like that and put it into a French roll.
So it was in place.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, of course, that was a challenge in Wellington, even with all the lacquer. But that's what we aimed for, to do that. And we coloured. Often that was the beginning of colouring your hair. Bleach, a lot of bleach going on.
What colour did you put in?
Well,
Colleen?
I went blue at one stage.
Oh, okay.
And pink. I mean, my parents, you know. So they had to live through all that. So, anyway, this was the dress. But, I mean, I wish you could feel it. The
Yeah.
listeners could feel it, because it's the most marvellous cotton. The next sort of decade, if you like, we got married and we went to London. And that was a whole new thing, because that was the 60s. Swinging 60s. And I mean, what fun that was. It was, I mean, I'd left Wellington early 60s.
You grew up in Wellington.
Oh, I did.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I absolutely did.
So how old would you have been then when you went to London?
Well, probably about 23.
Wow, very young. Even by today's standards, still very young, you know, to go that far.
Well, it
you
was,
know?
particularly in those days. But I didn't really want to get married. But I really liked this man. And so I said, well, I will marry you, but if we go to London. And he said, oh, great. So he took the adventure as well. So, and it was wonderful, very formative years for us, because we'd left a very traditional, you know, our mothers wanted to look like the Queen. You know, it was all about hats and gloves.
How did London then, Colleen, change your sense of personal style?
I mean, Mary Quant, what a trailblazer.
Mm.
I mean, she just made everything so freer, so much freer. And, of course, it was a wonderful time. There was Carnaby Street, and I wonder if that sowed the seed, went into the mix for, you know, why I love colour. Maybe, I don't know. How do you know these things? You know, it's all very...
By osmosis, maybe.
Yes. It was a very exciting time, and not just with Mary Quant and the Beatles. You know, there was also wonderful theatre. Wonderful. The National Theatre wasn't built. There's a South Bank complex that a lot of people will know because they go when they go to London, and it's a very special place. I went to the National Theatre, but it was all on at the Old Vic,
Okay.
which was along Waterloo Road. Quite a walk, you know, walked along. And I remember it as being a very small theatre. But we went back a couple of times when we revisited London, and it wasn't that small, but compared to the complex now, it was a lovely little theatre. But at those times, there was Laurence Olivier.
Wow.
There was Maggie Smith.
Wow.
I mean, she was totally unknown. I mean, we had never heard of her here until it was when she made the movie, The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, you know, so then she was known here. But in those days, we'd never heard of her. Judi Dench, she was around. And at Covent Garden was Fontaine and Nureyev dancing.
Mm.
And, do you know, it's most extraordinary, but my husband loved ballet, and, you know, he loved that I was involved with that ballet thing when I first met him, he had sisters, but none of them learnt ballet. So I don't know what it was. I mean, when he got a bit older, he said, in my next life, I want to come back as a ballet dancer. So we shared that interest of ballet, and so we used to go up into the amphitheatre and watch magic. They were absolute magic. And look, she didn't put a leg up the highest. There was the Russian ballet that we saw too. They were exciting, but what she had was extreme beauty with line, and what they did together worked perfectly and made magic. Quite emotional thinking.
Can I maybe, on that note, Colleen, could I maybe ask you, like, having been exposed to such a broad range of culture and encountering these amazing people, in really their prime, these stars, and seeing what they were doing, how they held themselves, how they dressed themselves, how did that affect you?
I mean, I believe that everybody lives creatively. Putting clothes on is just part of a necessity of life. You have to get up, put something on in the morning. So that is your choice, and how you make that work is what you choose to have in your wardrobe. But I mean, you think of people's homes, you go into their homes, and it reflects so much about how they are. I mean, whether you're first flatting, you have your own bedroom, and however you make that work, that is part of who you are at that particular time, And I think over the years, it's just all been an evolving thing. It's all goes into the mix.
Do you think that personal style can maybe be a way of asserting visibility, Colleen, and also a sense of identity over time, over a life?
I mean, I've never felt invisible. I mean, I've always worn bright, vibrant colours, and I've always sort of, if you like, slightly broken whatever the rules are. I think we're always honest to ourselves in our own way. I mean, I've got 3 younger sisters, and it's been interesting watching their journey. I don't really like that word, but you know what I mean. And we're very different, but they've all found their own style. And I remember once, a few years back now, looking at some photographs and with my younger sister, and she said, "Oh, Colleen, why didn't you tell me how I looked?" I mean, she was a poor student, so she was going through that phase. So I do think we all go through phases, and but there's something underlying in our personalities. And of course, I was married to a man who loved me dressing the way I did, encouraged me. I mean, there was a time when, you didn't want to be OTT. I think they called it, what did they say? Less is more. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh yes, I'll take a few things off. I'll take and then I thought, actually, I don't. That is not what. That is not
you don't
me.
Subscribe
more
to it.
Is more.
Yeah.
Put another thing on. I mean, I've just bought this
I love it.
Funsy sort of rose, and I just pop it on when. I just thought today it's Funsy Day. So I think you add something and then it does make you feel different. I think if I wore quieter clothes, it would rub off. It's an interesting whole concept.
It is.
The way we do it. And does the colour make you feel more joyful?
Yeah.
Or do you put your colour on and then you feel joyful?
Because of it? It's hard, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, it's a simple thing. It's an everyday thing.
But is it?
But it's complex too, isn't it? I love black as a colour, and I will wear it. I mean, I can't think when it was, but we all went down at some stage, when was it, 70s, 80s, something like that, where we had our colours done. I mean, it was the big new thing of how to work out what suited you. And, we had these little swatches. And I mean, everybody can wear everything, but it's of which shade you choose.
The tones.
And apparently it was developed by some artist who was working out something on his skin, and he noticed how his skin change with the different colours. There is an element in it, and I know that I am better in orangey-based reds rather than clear. I'm a spring, I think, of the season.
What about, Colleen, working in theatre for so long as well? You've been around actors, costumes, all these kind of, I guess, the sense of performance as well, you know, is intrinsic to theatre. How has that influenced the way that you think about your own style? Like, has that rubbed off on you?
Everything in your life, I think, goes into the mix. And I mean, every experience I've had, even if it's way back in the filing cabinet of, many decades ago. I love working in the theatre. I've done all sorts of things in the theatre. But do you know, I had a little boutique once too. I mean, because you always in the theatre, you never know where the next job's going to be and all that business.
Was it in Wellington, Colleen?
It was, and we used to go and buy the clothes, and each, well in advance of each season, we would go and have a showing. I mean, we just felt so...
How fabulous.
Catwalk Paris.
Yeah, very glam.
Yeah. Well, we used to go out for dinner, and do you know where we used to go? The most gorgeous little cafe. It was very trailblazing, sort of, in its own way of what it did. Brasserie Flip. Oh, the food. But it was the whole atmosphere of it. And it was the beginning of sort of smart, casual and all that sort of...
So it was a place to be seen.
Well,
a little bit?
Well, opening, I remember you couldn't get in. There was a queue down the road for whatever.
Had everyone dressed up as well, Colleen?
Well, there was probably a bit more of that. And we always used to say, let's go somewhere else. But we always somehow ended up Brasserie, and we often knew someone there. So, I mean, it was lovely,
How do you think, Colleen, of the way that society dresses itself now? Like, just thinking of like back then, for example, if you mentioned, if that was maybe a bit more of a thing, maybe getting dressed up. Do you think that we've lost a bit of that, maybe?
Oh, I think they dress in their own way, and I think how they dress now is of the times, and if I go, perhaps I've been out to dinner or something, in Courtney Place, and I walk along to collect my car. I love all that, and there's a sense of freedom and yes, I mean, I think everything moves along, but
how would you describe the kind of style of today, the era that we're living in now?
Well, anything goes,
Yeah.
And I love that too. I think I've kept the things that matter, like the colour, and like mixing and matching it up and putting on too much. I've kept that, and then you just change. But do you know the interesting thing about colour is people love it, but they don't often choose to wear it. But they love that you do, and I think that's really rather nice.
I think just lastly, Colleen, you've brought in an object today from your life to share with us. Can you tell us what it is and what's the story behind it?
Well, my house, I live in a phone box. Somebody said it was a tree house because I live on a hill, and I have a wonderful outlook, and I love it. But it's a small house, and I have limited space for paintings or pictures or posters or anything.
Right.
And it's jam-packed. My walls are not minimal. and every single object on my wall has a meaning. It's all about the emotional side of buying things. I love that. So I've chosen something that actually reminds me of our time in London. These are two little ceramics.
Wow.
And they're made by a New Zealand artist.
They look a bit like a pea pod to me.
I know. I love that you say that because, the theatre, art is subjective, isn't it? No, these were made by a young woman, who's a Kiwi woman, and they're dancers because that is where her creativity started. She is a dancer and ceramic maker too, and so she's incorporated both into these. And I suppose I bought them from McClevey Gallery, a lovely gallery.
I love McClevey.
Yes,
Yeah. They're stunning.
Yes, I think they're beautiful. But it's interesting. Somebody said they thought they were peppers, So
Yeah, they
there
do
we
look a
are.
bit like
And now I
vegetables.
look at them and I think, yes, I can see peppers in them. But it we saw these when my daughter was visiting once. There was an exhibition, and so we went. And because my daughter's very friendly with Olivia, who runs it. And of course, I knew Peter, I know Hilary, and there's a stylish woman. My husband was with me, and we couldn't decide which one. And somehow they worked for us in pairs. And then we kept pairing them all up, and we were able to sort of, change.
So you chose the two individual.
Yes, but do you know why? Because they reminded us of Fontaine and Nureyev. So not only, and then when we went to pay for them, my daughter had bought them. All my pictures, all my paintings have those stories and memories. So
I love that, Colleen. Thank you so much for coming in today. It's been such a pleasure.
It's been fun. Thank you, André.
Personal style can be many things at once: armor, invitation, instinct, or play. It evolves alongside us, shaped by time, experience, and the decisions we make about how to be seen. In Colleen's case, it offers a reminder that creativity isn't confined to stages or galleries. Sometimes it lives in the everyday, in colour, texture, and the simple act of presenting oneself to the world. I'm André Chumko, and this has been Articulate. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you next time.